The Grinch. Christmas Adventure. Is that the title of this? Just easier to call it The Grinch at this point. I was debating. I was like, oh, The Grinch. I don't know if it was worth it, but then I thought about it and I was like, wait, it is a licensed game. I mean, usually with these like smaller indie games, I don't really bother. Because I'm like, can I even think of anything to talk about for 30 minutes with some of these smaller little budget cheaper games? So I did Paranormal Activity, and that was like a small little indie budget game, but it was licensed obviously. But you know, that's just the nature of these licensed games. Adventure Time, it's not, I mean, it just goes on and on. Game Mill Studios stuff. Some of them are still pretty good, decent games. But the only thing that gets me to play them, if it wasn't for the brand and the series and franchise and the logo, or whatever you want to call it, I wouldn't have bothered. Kind of picky. I like my AAA games. I like quality. I like eye candy and graphics and quality of life. And you know, when you're purposely playing something that's cheap, well, funny enough, this game wasn't cheap, even on sale. It is a next-gen version of a game, or a next-gen game. Dude, I don't know. I got this game on a whim. I just got it to play it for Christmas. And I sat on it for a while because I was like, is it worth it? But it is the Grinch. It is relatable and to other sources of media, movies and books, and so I thought it was, when I actually thought about it, I was like, hey, it could be worth messing around with. But I just wanted a few Christmas games, and it's kind of a hard thing to do, because what do you get? South Park, something with snow. You know, holiday games are usually pretty bad. And if I'm only on PlayStation, I only got so many options. But this game was on sale at the time. I normally don't try to like emphasize that too much because it's not really a good thing to go off of, but I can't give this game too much credit, but I don't want to like dismiss it completely either. But it was okay. I don't like platformers. The game was fine. I don't know, like, I kind of wish there was more voice acting, and there was more voice acting, but it was just the narrator. I never cared for the books. Like, obviously I haven't bothered with Dr. Seuss like that since I was a kid, but I always appreciated it though. I didn't mind the Cat in the Hat. I had to watch it a couple times to somewhat like it, I guess, or just appreciate the artistry of it. I mean, you can think of it like a Tim Burton thing, but just not Tim Burton. It's like it's got this flavor, this style and aesthetic. I was like, I'm not crazy about the Grinch. I'm not a fanboy, but I like it enough to. It is a good movie. Jim Carrey. There's even a scary movie I want to watch called The Mean One. It's like The Grinch, but horror related, which I still haven't got to, but it could be cool. It would have been a good Christmas horror movie. It just makes sense, right? It's kind of like what they did with Winnie the Pooh. They made a horror version of him. It just reminds me of like these bad B movies, like Willy's Wonderland, Five Nights at Freddy's. Just fun, stupid, little entertaining B movies. I want to say this year, surprisingly, I didn't watch The Grinch. I don't know if I just didn't have access to it or didn't bother to care. I watched plenty of other Christmas stuff, but I don't know. I like to be festive during the holidays. I like to find games that are relatable, even if it's a puzzle game or something. You know, because there is something for everything. Easter, played an Easter horror game last time. I played a Christmas horror game recently. Like these cheap, crappy games. I don't know, I mean, for holidays you can really get away with anything. The most relevant thing to carry over gaming wise is always going to be Halloween, obviously, because horror games is just easier to have more games to work with for the whole month, and especially the day of. And Christmas is kind of like, doesn't really matter what you play, but it is nice to like at least consider it and think about it and have it as an option. It's more festive, it's more seasonal, and it's like, hey, it's once a year, may as well. I don't know, this game was expensive. The graphics and quality were, it made sense. It is pretty bad. First of all, I don't like platformers. Second of all, like some of the sounds they use were just so corny and tacky and cheesy and stock and cheap. This game is kind of a scam. I'm surprised the base price is as high as it is, and even on sale, which I was lucky enough to have it on sale during Christmas. There's no way I would have gone out of my way ahead of time to get it. Just for that, I would have been able to get away. Funny enough, the other Christmas games I got, I actually enjoyed those more. And they were literally like $2. Like one, you had to match the pictures, and then the other one, you had to see the differences between the pictures. Just fun, passive, like, hey, have some drinks. Maybe if the music isn't good enough, which one of the games I got, music wasn't good enough, so I put on Christmas music anyway, some EDM hardstyle. The scary one was okay, because you're gonna have to appreciate those a little bit, just because of like, you know, it's a genre that I like, mixed in with the holiday, it just kind of works out. Whether it's good or not isn't really the point, but yeah, this game was good. It had stuff from the book, straight out of the book too, like the artwork, and that kind of made it interesting. And honestly, I would have just preferred like a scary Grinch game. And I think when you're going platformer, it's kind of a cop-out. Like, really? A platformer, dude? Is that what we're doing? It's just so easy, especially for licensing to do. Like, oh, we'll just pump out a game and call it a platformer. It's just kind of... I don't know, platformers usually just make me mad. I like to see, like, the whole screen and what it is I'm doing, where I'm going, and... I don't know, that's almost a whole nother rant, but... yeah, the cutscenes are good.
'Tis the season of cheer, and Christmas is looming. But the Grinch isn't happy. In fact, he is fuming. With a hatred so deep that he just can't conceal it. To cancel this Christmas, old Grinchy will steal it.
Yeah. I don't know, platformers are just like constant, you know, frustration, cheap hits. It's so easy to make a mistake in a game like this. Like, this game obviously wasn't hard. You can tell it was directed towards kids, which is fine, but... I think I played for like 6 hours, it said in the game. Or the console said that at least. The only reason why I played it as long as I did was because between the 4 games I got, the other ones are kind of like, those are only gonna last so long, and which is fine. I didn't even finish the horror one because it just got so bad. I enjoyed the other games more, but this one was obviously more playable because it, you know, it did meet that standard of like it being able to be finished at all, and it was still pretty hard though. Like, I don't know if it was just there was some minor jank, but it was definitely doable. There was some like screen tearing, which was awkward. I don't know, the sections that really pissed me off are the house sections. Oh my god, dude. There's I don't want to give it away, but it was bad. And just creepy, and it's funny because this game, like, the Grinch has always been a dark kind of thing. Obviously, compared to like Dr. Seuss and all that as well, right? I mean, all this stuff is kind of dark in a weird way if you think about it, but it's obviously coated with a shiny, colorful paint job, and yeah, I don't know. That's why I think a horror game would have just been better instead of banking on the Christmas thing alone. Like, it's so plain and boring and tacky and corny, like. And that's why I think they went the platformer route too, is like there just wasn't much to the game. Like, they had to do something, right? Yeah, it had the music, it had the snow filter, which added to the... It was just a good game to play to kind of tie everything together. Snow and Christmas vibes and music and jingle bells and blah blah blah. But that's all that this game was, though. At least to me, it was just a background game to play, really. Like, I would have preferred to play other stuff, obviously, but this one's weird for me because it's a licensed game, but it's not like anything I would just normally jump to or go to on my own accord. It was just purely out of holiday reasons. But whether it's decoration, whether it's my background, whether it's stuff on here, whether it's around the home, or, I mean, it's good to celebrate that stuff and try to appreciate it. So I was like, oh, okay, I didn't really like it. Getting these games wasn't really in my budget. Like, it wouldn't have costed much to get the other games, but this game, holy crap. Jesus Christ. I was like, am I really gonna justify getting this game to play it for like a day, literally? I think I made use of it Christmas night and Christmas Day, or at least because I play at night. Like, I think it went into Christmas Day. I don't know. Like, I made good use of the games, but after I beat it, I didn't really beat it, but the ending, I kind of got screwed because it made me kind of do more than I wanted to. I just wanted to get through it, man. I didn't care about getting all this stuff and doing the collectibles, like basically doing kind of whatever you can in the game. There's only so much extra. I was like, screw it, man. I need something to play to like finish out the night. And I went back in the game to do more because I wanted to get more of an ending. It kind of cut off because you have to play more to really tie it together. And I wanted to, at the very least, finish it. Like, making a video wasn't really a plan, but because I normally don't do that unless I finish the game. Or at least what I wanted to play out of the game, or like, it just really depends, but it was rough, dude, because it felt very forced. Like, I didn't really want to sit there and play that more than I had to. It was kind of a buzzkill and killing my vibes. There's only a couple of times I really got upset or angry or mad. But it was just kind of something to like, passively, I don't know. This is why I stay away from like Mario and Crash Bandicoot, and like Crash is usually the only exception I'll make as far as games like this go. But it sucks though, because a lot of licensed stuff are probably tied behind a platformer. Lion King was a platformer. I know there's a Gargoyles game I want to play that's platformer. Aladdin. I saw there's a Dragon Ball platformer game. I played a Star Wars platformer on the Game Boy Advance back in the day. You know, it's really never something you're gonna fully be able to ever get away from, unfortunately. So, bottom line is, if you want to be included in this universe and in this world of something that you enjoy, gaming, outside of gaming, you know, this is what you're gonna have to sit through and bear through, and it's just pain and suffering. I like 3D worlds. I like being able to look around and roam around and do whatever it is that I want, and have that freedom of like not being tied down and constricted, and you can still kind of do whatever you want, but in this 2D space. And I just didn't like it. I always loved like Super Mario 64, being able to, like, 3D to me was huge, and it's part of like how I grew up and the time I was in, and seeing things change that drastically. GoldenEye. I just recently watched a GoldenEye documentary. Like, 3D is huge. I mean, this has 3D elements to it as in the environment, but obviously you're going one direction. Yeah, go right. That's so fun and exciting. Yeah, they can do verticality, they can do secret sections, they can make you go backwards and add all these things to make it, you know, a game, but yeah. It sucks too when I'm thinking about it again, and when I played it again for 30 minutes to get the footage. Like, dang, I didn't even like finish the game, because like I got the credits and everything, and that's kind of my signifier, my cue. But I was comparing it so much to the movie, and at the end of the movie, happy, you know, everyone's having a feast together and la-di-da-di. I didn't get, there's like one last thing I could have gotten, but that would have required me literally, and I did. I went back and did as much as I could, but some of it was hard, like really finding those puzzle pieces. And you know, it might be fine for someone who's trying to platinum or 100% or, dude, and it's one of those games too that looks easy and simple and, you know, basic, but it can be challenging. I mean, it doesn't like hold your hand necessarily, because whether it's like, if you are a kid and you're playing this, you're just gonna go through, you don't care about all these little dumb things. But if you're an adult and you're playing this, or if that's the route that you go and that's the way you choose to spend your time, you're gonna have to bust your ass, man. Because first of all, you have to like platformers. You have to have a reason or an excuse to look beyond the fact that this is the Grinch and it is a game and a Christmas game, and like, if you want to take it that seriously, but obviously I didn't. And this is exactly why I don't do things like this, because I don't want to be stuck playing something I don't want to play, but then having this mindset of like, oh, I have to do this, and this kind of false goal and imitation of some kind of achievement and plan and something to gain and benefit, and it's just not there at all. But because yeah, this game's a red flag. The platforming, going above and beyond, just because of the fact that it's the Grinch or it's a game or the value of the game, or I wanted to just make good use of playing it. It's like, dude, oh my god, dude, there's so many other games I could have got for the price of this. I can't emphasize enough the price. It was shocking. Gameplay's okay.
In order to make his way into the town, old Grinchy needs Max to make the trek down. Hang and climb.
Yeah. I don't know. If it wasn't for Jim Carrey, dude, in the movie, I don't know. I wouldn't have bothered. Because, like, everyone's gonna know Dr. Seuss. Everyone's gonna be aware. Like, even Cat in the Hat, Mike Myers, Austin Powers, like... They did a good job getting someone very comedically proficient to play these roles, or else I wouldn't have bought this game. You know, it's funny how things work out that way. Yeah, it wasn't... There's better Christmas games to play, and obviously being limited to one platform doesn't really help. Like, yeah, it might have helped if I had a Switch and Xbox and PC, Windows. Especially PC, they have a lot of good, like, Christmas horror games in there. There were other games to get, but obviously I wasn't gonna go that out of my way to get them, like, if they weren't on sale. Because it was kind of like the day before of type thing, and I was like, well... Because I was busy playing another game, a 100+ hour game at the time, so I didn't really bother to plan ahead of time. It was kind of like a last minute decision. But the game I was playing beforehand, I didn't want to, like, enjoy the excuse to party a little bit during the holiday and then have something to play that just probably wouldn't have really worked out that great or kept my attention span, or I really needed something a lot more just kind of turn your brain off. There's some parts though where my butt cheeks are clenching, man, like, oh, I don't want to get hit, or like, oh, I want to make this jump. Like, oh, I just hate that feeling of like this imminent death, of like these near-death experiences every 5 seconds. That's why I don't like platformers. They're hard, they're challenging. And this might be one of the more easier ones you could get your hands on, but there's so many of them, I guess it just varies. There's obviously retro games up the wazoo to play this type of thing, but it's just not my thing. I went so out of my comfort zone and my element, but I'm obviously gonna make exceptions here and there to just look past that, and I think it's good as a gamer to kind of just play different stuff, and that way you may not excel or master one game specifically or one genre, but you're so good at playing so many different things, and you're capable, and you really test yourself and push your boundaries, and I can always kind of appreciate that aspect of it. Always like the whole like being jack of all trades. I don't know. So this game definitely fit that part of stuff, which is probably the only really good thing I got out of it. I don't know. I obviously kind of regretted it because it really did set me back on, like, you know, taking care of actual things, real things that IRL stuff, and like I have plenty of backlog games, and I always like to be prepared and have a plan B and plan Z and be a step ahead and have something to play and replay some things if I have to, or whatever the case may be. If I have an excuse to play it, if there's save slots. But I've always been like a 75% person. Like, I'll just play most of the game and do whatever I can comfortably and move on next game. So this game was challenging to just kind of look past all these different things. And there's a lot of holidays too. There's 420 and Cinco de Mayo. There's Easter, there's Halloween obviously, there's New Year's even. Does New Year's really count though? What do you play for New Year's? Valentine's Day. I mean, Jesus, dude. Those are like the only ones I kind of pay attention to. There are more obviously, but just little ones, right? But it is it's fun in a way. Like, it's my one way to be like, hey, I'm not just. It's a different day. You know, it doesn't hurt to, like, most of the year you can play and do whatever you want, but it's like, hey, man, I gotta make an exception every so often. It's not really a big deal. There's like an Irish puzzle game I want to get for St. Patty's Day, but I keep forgetting to get it. But those are much safer, like cheaper options too, as like a puzzle game, you know, it's always going to be a fair price, and or like a pinball game, or like, I don't remember when this game came out, and that's why it might be a little pricey still. I just can't, dude, if it was like, if the price was literally slashed, if it was like $10 or $20 maybe, but Jesus, man. I'm still hurting from it. I'm not recovering from it fully. This game kind of broke me in more ways than one. But I made use of it. I got through it, but it just sucks when you're playing something and you're just waiting for it to be done, and I hate playing games like that because it's not the way it should be. And like, you're going so out of your way to play games at all, and you know, do whatever it is that you have to do to get your hands on them and download them and purchase them, and featuring the game, and every game, every selection is important to me because it's expression and it's choice and judgment and having good taste. And yeah, I mean, it's a Grinch, so it's totally fine, obviously, but it could be worse. That's how I always have to look at it too. Like, you know what, man, if it's not this game, it's something else. Not every game's gonna be 10 out of 10. It's not good to like inflate certain games' egos too much and be a simp and make it out to be more than what it is. And this is a good example of that, is that not every game is going to be a home run and 10 out of 10. So this is like the perfect example of that. It can have this price point and be next gen and all these things, but that doesn't mean it's going to be like this end all be all solution, overall amazing experience. And it goes to show, like, gaming is an industry and a business, man. Like, this is the kind of thing they'll do, is like, normally I stay away from these things and I see it a mile away. I'm like, oh dude, that is not worth it, man. But everyone has their reasons to play and not play certain things, and Jesus, if it was like any other generic random game that just kind of exists out there, there's no way in hell I would have gone through what I did to not only to download it and purchase it, but to play it. Not only that, but finish it and like go even further than I really wanted to. That still blows my mind. But if that says anything, it's like, well, it's a good enough game to try out, or I mean, it's an option, it exists, it's out there, so but yeah, the Grinch.